Think about the absolute most basic tasks you do every single day. Things like having a quick conversation with a coworker or, just picking up a pencil to doodle. You probably think you know exactly how to do these things, right? I mean, they're second nature. Well, in today's explainer, we're diving into some fascinating source material that challenges those everyday assumptions. As you'll see, shifting our perspective on these very basics can actually unlock entirely new levels of connection and creativity for us.
So what in the world does holding a pencil have in common with having a really tough conversation? I know it sounds like a riddle, but the answer is surprisingly profound. In both of these activities, we rely heavily on our defaults. And these physical and psychological default settings, those deeply ingrained habits we literally never think about, are very often the exact things stifling our connection, our clarity, and our creativity.
Here is how we're going to break this all down today. We'll start by unlearning our daily defaults, move to finding the right grip, explore the power of pressure, learn how to draw boundaries and lines, and finally, master the art of repair.
Let's jump right in. Part 1, unlearning our daily defaults.
You've been holding it wrong. Yeah, I know, it's a pretty bold claim, but stick with me. It's absolutely true. Physically, you've likely been gripping your pencil strictly for handwriting, which completely restricts your ability to actually draw. And psychologically, well, you've probably been communicating just to win arguments, which totally restricts your ability to connect with people. Basically, we've been operating on default mode, but today, that changes.
Moving on to Part 2, finding the right grip.
Take a look at this visual breakdown from our drawing manual. It is really fascinating. First, you have the writing grip. It relies almost entirely on your fingers for control, which creates these cramped, tight, curved lines that kind of tilt inward towards your body. To be honest, it's terrible for drawing. But then, look at the artist's grip. The pencil rests across the palm, not pinched between the fingers. You use your whole arm and your shoulder. It creates longer, looser, and vastly more confident lines. It's this open physical posture that just creates incredible freedom.
And honestly, this is a brilliant metaphor for how we communicate. On one hand, we have arguing to win. This is the psychological equivalent of that cramped writing grip. Is a defensive, super tight posture where you basically view the other person as an opponent you need to defeat. But on the flip side, we have what communication expert Fischer calls arguing to unravel. This is the artist's grip of conversation. You open your posture up, you realize, hey, the person in front of me isn't actually fighting me, they are fighting to feel understood by me. Shifting your goal from winning a fight to unraveling a knot together, that is the ultimate emotionally intelligent move.
All right, Part 3, the power of pressure.
Applying the wrong amount of pressure will instantly ruin a drawing on a page, and for sure it'll ruin a delicate dialogue. Check out this 1 to 5 pressure scale. Level 1 is barely touching the paper. Levels 2 and 3, that's where most of your drawing work actually happens. Levels 4 and 5 are reserved for heavy, dark emphasis. The drawing manual notes this really fascinating flaw. Beginners push way too hard, way too soon. Actually, they kind of bypass the soft touches entirely and instantly jump to a level 5 pressure. This creates a ton of tension in the hand, and that tension creates shaky, terrible lines. If your line is shaky, you're gripping way too tight.
So how does this translate to human conversation? It comes down to 5 to 7 seconds. This is your conversational pressure valve. Fischer points out that when someone says something that triggers us, our default instinct is to immediately apply level 5 pressure, right? We suck in our breath, we tense up, and we immediately fire back defensively. We push too hard, creating really shaky communication. Instead, Fischer advises letting your breath be your first word. Just pause for 5 to 7 seconds. Breathe. Let their hurtful words kind of echo in the silence and fall to the ground. Doing this instantly lowers the volume, releases the tension, and puts you in a highly controlled, confident position.
Now, think about applying this pressure management to difficult family dynamics. Fischer notes that parental judgment is a poor substitute for love and care. When parents judge us, we often feel immense pressure to just fight back against their opinion, which obviously creates massive conflict. But Fischer tells us to release that pressure. Don't fight their judgment. Respond to the hidden value underneath it. So if they're judging your life choices, you can calmly say something like, "I can tell my well-being is really important to you." See what you did there? You acknowledge their care without adopting their anxiety.
Section 4, drawing boundaries and lines.
Okay, so in the drawing world, there's this physical technique called a ghost stroke. It's where you rehearse a stroke in the air 2 or 3 times before your pencil ever actually touches the paper. Why do this? Because the manual tells us that slow lines wobble. If you go too slow, your hand has time to second-guess literally every millimeter. By rehearsing in the air, you build up the muscle memory and confidence to commit to the line and just draw it fast and straight.
This physical ghost stroke parallels perfectly with Fischer's exact framework for initiating contact with an estranged family member. You need a fast, straight, confident line, so you rehearse the boundary first. Step 1, I know there's distance. Boom, you acknowledge reality. Step 2, I'm not asking to change your mind. You draw the firm boundaries so they don't feel pressured. Step 3, I'm open to listening. You explicitly state your openness. You're essentially ghost stroking the relational boundary, removing all that hesitation before you dive in.
And we can absolutely apply this confident line drawing to the workplace too. First off, avoid the waterfall of over-explaining. It just makes you look hesitant. Be a well of knowledge instead. If someone interrupts you, let them do it once, get it out of their system, and then restart exactly where you left off. If they do it again, set a firm boundary. I will listen to you when you are finished. Ensure your lines are clear by asking, what did you hear, to avoid any misinterpretation. And finally, when you really need to draw a hard line, lead with the word no and frame it as a promise you've made to yourself. Because people don't argue with promises. These are fast, straight, confident communication lines with absolutely zero wobble.
And finally, Part 5, the art of repair.
Look, no matter how good your grip is or how perfectly straight your lines are, mistakes are going to happen. Both a rough sketch and a damaged relationship require empathetic repair. And that brings us right back to this core philosophy. Arguments are not something to win, they are something to unravel. Relationships usually don't break down because of one massive explosive argument. Fischer notes they actually break down due to hundreds of missed micro-moments where repair could have happened, but you chose frustration over connection. Repairing a rift isn't weakness, it is the ultimate measure of emotional intelligence. You fix the sketch and you fix the relationship by validating the other person's hidden fear, addressing their need to feel safe, and constantly checking your own intentions.
So, the question I really want to leave you with today is this. What masterpiece could you create today if you just changed your grip? Really think about it. What relationship could you heal? What boundary could you confidently draw? And what new ideas could you bring to life if you just stopped using the cramped, defensive grip of your daily defaults? Whether you're picking up a pencil or picking up the phone to call an old friend, loosen your grip, let your arm move, take a deep breath, and prioritize connection over perfection. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I seriously can't wait to see what you create.